Everybody, in today's full body workout, we're just going to either use 1 or 2 dumbbells, whatever you got laying around. Now, I was too lazy to go and get any other equipment in my garage, so these were sitting outside, so I just threw together a full body workout so you can follow along, modify as you need to. So the first block is a dumbbell Arnold press. If you only have 1 dumbbell, then you're going to do 1 on each side, which is great because that gives you some off-centered anti-side flexion component at the trunk and the core. Then we moved into a single leg deadlift. So I switched over to 1 kettlebell. And at the top, to make it a little bit more complex, I was doing a hand switch at the top and then opening up the hips to improve that loaded mobility. So I did 6, so 3 each hand, and then switching to the other side. You don't have to do the switch. You can stay to the one side, or if you want, you can use 2 dumbbells. But just for a little added complexity and a little extra mobility in my lower extremity today, just adding on that component. And then finishing off with some bicep curls. We're hitting those rep ranges of anywhere from 10 to 12, or at least just before fatigue, okay, before that last rep gets crappy. With anything you do, you're going to modify it. If you got lighter weights, then you're going to do higher reps. If you got heavier weights, you can do lower, but modify it to whatever equipment you have. Don't make it too complex.
Your A1 exercise is going to be the Arnold press. If you have only 1 dumbbell, you will perform 10 reps on each side. But with 2 dumbbells, we're going to start with the palms facing our face, and we're going to twist and press overhead. Be sure to keep the ribs down and the core locked and the glutes tight so you don't overextend through the low back. A2 exercise is going to be the single leg rotary stability deadlift. In this exercise, we're going to switch hands, so we're creating a little bit more rotation control through the hips and the trunk. When we're on the same side, we're going to really focus on lifting that top leg up towards the roof or the sky. So we're keeping the pelvis nice and locked. When it's working across the body, we're going to focus on keeping the pelvis and low back nice and straight. This is a very hip-centric exercise. It requires a lot of stability and control from the foot, the hip, and the trunk. Move slowly, or you might just bobble and fall over, but that's okay. If you fall and lose your balance, just know that your range of motion is limited there and slowly work in it. A3 exercise is going to be a dumbbell curl with a fly out to the side. As we let the dumbbells come down towards the ground, we are locking those triceps to really open up the biceps and the front of the elbow. Let them come to the side and then curl right up towards the face, squeezing at the top.
Rest anywhere 30 to 60 seconds in between rounds. Try this for 3 or 4 rounds. Shouldn't take you too much time. And then give yourself another minute break and move on to the B block. Okay, in this next round, we're going to do some alternate forwards and reverse lunges. Again, depending on what equipment you have, you can either use your 2 dumbbells or 1 dumbbell, either in both hands or offset it. From there, we're going to go into a renegade row where we're really locking up and controlling rotation through the trunk, working on some backside pulling or upper pulling. And then we're moving into some diamond push-ups just to open up the wrists so we're not overloading the grip and tightening up all the wrist flexors as we move through this workout. Let's go.
Our B1 exercise, we're going to do double front rack, dumbbell, forwards and backwards lunge. So the stance leg in this section of the video is going to be the left leg. So it's your balancing transition leg. And we're going to drop onto the front leg, both forwards and backwards. If the double dumbbells poses too much of a challenge, just drop to a single dumbbell and just hold it into a goblet position. Even though the resistance is reduced, you'll be able to hit greater ranges of motion in the ankle and the knee, so you get into a deeper lunge. Switch over to the other leg. So in this section, we're now pivoting and balancing on the right leg while we move and swing the left leg forwards and backwards. Maintain an upright spinal position through the entire time, bracing the core and protecting the back. Again, if you are not hitting the reps required in this workout, drop the dumbbell and go to a single. Here you'll be able to see the deeper lunge position you can attain using some lighter weight, getting greater range of motion to the joints. Our B2 exercise is going to be the renegade row. The goal here is to prevent any rotation happening through the trunk and the pelvis as you press 1 dumbbell into the ground and row the other one up by your hip. This is a very challenging core exercise as well as a shoulder stability exercise, so make sure you keep it clean. Our B3 exercise is going to be diamond push-ups, where we take a narrow grip on the ground, keeping the core locked, pelvis tucked under, and we're just going to bang out some good old push-ups. Lock out the elbows at the top, all the way to the bottom.
Okay, so now this last block, we're going to be focusing more a little bit on mobility in the hips and the spine. So feel free to drop the weight if it doesn't feel comfortable, you can't get the rep ranges, or just move with control. And be mindful of your ranges of motion that you can own. If you're moving into a range that's uncomfortable, you stop breathing, you start to tense up, it's probably a position or a range you don't own, so get out of that. Reduce the weight, move slowly within your comfort zone, and modify as you need to. It should feel good when you do any of these exercises.
In this last round, we're going to slow it down a bit and work into end ranges, into the hips, and into the spine. Starting with the alternate Cossack squat, we're going to step to the side, slowly drop down, turn that extended leg up so that your toes is facing the sky. And as you press the dumbbell out in front of you, squeeze it. So focus more on the squeeze of the shoulders. This will increase difficulty of the exercise, engage the core, but also really focus on the chest and the shoulders. If you can't get all the way down, don't worry about that. Just move into the ranges that are comfortable for you. As you're moving, remember to breathe. Drop down, exhale, inhale on the way back up. If the weight is too much, to complete the reps, just drop the weight and finish up. Next, we're moving into the Jefferson curl. Now, for some of you, just using a dowel or just using body weight might be enough. But when you're dropping down into flexion, think you're curling one segment of the spine at a time, starting with the neck. You're tucking the chin down, then you're rounding the shoulders and then rounding the low back and hinging through the hips. Exhale, inhale on the way back up. And with the dumbbells, we're going to do a little bicep press out. So we're coming up into a little bit of a cross, locking the shoulders, lift them up in front of you, just to load up the front of the shoulders and biceps. After the fifth rep, drop the weights down, hinge through the hips, keeping the back arched and locked, and put a little extra stretch through the glutes and the hamstrings. And lastly, we're going to move into a bent over fly. We're going to focus on the back of the shoulders and scap retractors. Now 25s is a little bit heavy for me to do this exercise, so you're going to bang out as many reps as you can. For me, it's about 5, and then go to a bent arm version. If you only have one dumbbell, you can do this one side at a time. This at least gives you some time to rest before going to the bent arm version. Keeping your back nice and locked, front of your core locked in, wrists are down. Taking breaks as you need to. You really push this exercise. If it gets too heavy, you just can't lift it. Enjoy.
The strength component, I hope you enjoyed it. Now we're going to do a little bit of stretching to kind of unwind some of the tissues and tension that we've collected. And we know it's really, really important for recovery to reset the muscle fiber spindles, increase blood circulation. That'll help with recovery later. We're going to do 3 rounds of 3 of my favorite stretches for the lower body, as well as for the spine. And we're going to hold for 30 seconds. Slowly exhale. Keep a straight spine as far as you can, and slowly lower. At the end, if you can round the spine if you want, but you should feel primarily the stretch in the hamstrings and in the glutes. Focus on your breathing. No pain is allowed. After each exhale, see if you can move a little deeper into the stretch. Squeeze the quads a little bit. That'll help relax the hamstrings. Point the toes up towards the ceiling for a little extra stretch behind the knees. Add a little tension in front of your core to help pull you towards the floor. Move to where it's comfortable and you should be able to breathe easily. If you can't, back up. No pain is allowed to be felt. Next, we're going to move into a pretzel. So we're going to bring this top leg up, pin that on the floor as best as you can. I'm going to grab this bottom leg, take this top hand, press it onto the knee, and just going to let the shoulder fall towards the ground. If you want, you can use a bolster, pillow, or foam roller, or even your kettlebell underneath the knee here to allow you to drop down a little easier. Long, slow breaths. 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out. This should give you a 5 breath count. For a 60-second hold, or just over a 2 breath count for 30. Top leg up past 90 degrees to protect your lower back. Grab that back leg with the top arm or the behind arm. Exhale. Slowly drop towards the ground. The stretch should be felt in the quads, hips. A little stretch in the low back is okay, but no pain. Keep the head relaxed on the ground. You can even let it fall towards the side that you're rotating towards. Slowly move out. Lastly, we're going to go into a little cobra stretch just to let all the tissues and discs in the backside settle back in. We're going to focus on breathing. Keep those glutes squeezed to protect the low back so you don't get any pinchiness. If you do get a little pinch, come on down to the elbows. I want you to lift that neck to stretch all those neck muscles that get chronically tight on us from looking down at our devices. As this gets a little easier, you can prop yourself up. Draw the belly button in towards the spine on the exhale. Slowly lower yourself back down. Scooch back into a little child's pose. 1 breath. And you're done. I hope you found that little workout enjoyable and should feel good. Anything we do should feel good. If you're doing too much of something, your nervous system will tell you, things will tighten up, you'll lose energy, and you want to sleep. That's just the nervous system's reaction or response to unnecessary excess stress. When we dose ourselves properly, workouts should leave us feeling more energy to do things later. If you enjoyed this workout, click subscribe, save it, share it to a friend. And if you really enjoyed this, leave some comments down below. And anything that you want to know more about, kettlebells, calisthenics, I'll be happy to put some exercises, corrective exercises or rehab programs together for you. Take care.